And welcome everybody to some Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament 2019 semifinals. We have ShadowWalker versus Spellzapp. ShadowWalker is up 1-0 on Spellzapp, looking to punch his ticket to the finals. Spellzapp wants to push it to a Game 3. ShadowWalker, kind of a little personal anecdote, one of the original Ducklings. I was actually in that race, me, Czar, ShadowWalker, Tarnin, and Rumblefish, of all people. All 5 of us ran a Duckling seed. Me and Czar had to run with the Forest. Tarnin and Shadow and Rumble got to pick whatever. That was July of last year. Now look at him. Tarnin made it to round of 8. Shadow made it round of 4 to the finals. I am Demon Frog, joined on the mic by Kiyu Katsuki.
Hey there, Demon. Now, personally for me, like Spellzapp, I am the second edition of what is quote-unquote called the Ducklings now. The actual Duckling title was coined during the fall tournament of the 2018 year. And Spellzapp joined in shortly in between the tournament of the fall tournament of 2018. I participated in that tournament, and basically about a month and a half in, Spellzapp started consistently beating me. In fact, to the point of, oh, Spellzapp's in this seed, I'm never going to beat him. To my crowning achievement, I've only ever beaten Spellzapp after that point, I believe, one time, and that's only been recently on a particularly nasty seed, because I play it very safe, whereas Spellzapp plays for as much speed as possible. And for him to make it into the top 4 of the tournament in the spring, after he joined in the fall of 2018, is an impressive feat. He is the person to watch, and definitely of the quote-unquote platypuses, which is basically the people who they call the 2018 Duckling Seed participants, he is a person to watch out for. Because Spellzapp will come for you, and he will take your bacon from you. He is terrifying, and he can find every single point of time that you can find in a seed. He looks up flags, he says, I'm going to do research, I'm going to do practice, and he beats people at it. It is a Red Mage band, because Red Mage walked the plank this week, and we have Fighter Force. Now, Fighter was the first mate in this, but that's particularly seed-based. But we see a pretty similar comp from both ShadowWalker and Spellzapp, except Spellzapp is taking the safety in the White Mage, and ShadowWalker is taking the more offensive approach by taking the double Black Mage. Now, Demon Frog, how do you feel about this?
I mean, they're sticking to their guns. I imagine they're going to play the same way they played yesterday. And Shadow, that kind of surprises me, to be honest. He went into Topher without any white magic. He couldn't find the tail. That's definitely risky, but he is going foot on the gas and not going to stop.
I definitely agree. It's going to be a very close seed, especially what we found out yesterday. That seed was, I believe, a chaos pull within the same minute of each other. It is going to be close. ShadowWalker, Spellzapp, I don't even know who's going to win today. Personally, I just want to see Game 3. Because when you see these competitions where the runners are so close and they make these same speed plays and they're just pulling through exactly the same kind of play within a minute of each other, you're like, well, what's going to make the difference? Is it going to be Kraken whacking somebody who's going to kill him? Is it going to be Tiamat showing somebody a spell that the other person didn't run? Or is it going to be Chaos just evading blows like left and right like it's water? It is really difficult to prove who's going to be the better player in this one. And, you know, some of it comes up to the RNG table. Some of it comes up to the seed. Is there anything else that you want to talk about the seed here, Demon?
I mean, it could be, if 40 seconds is what separated these guys yesterday. It could be something so simple. But we got to get this going, and we'll find out. We got the countdown going. We will be going live here. And we'll see what ShadowWalker does. I know he said yesterday he saw a level 1 nuke, and he knew immediately. He was danning his first mate, keeping the fighter alive, and sticking with his 2 Black Mages. So we will see what if he decides to go ahead and run that.
I mean, I definitely agree. The big thing is, what do we find at this whole moment? Again, the fact of the matter is, early stages are banned. Early stages are banned, so you're gonna have to kill the Lich before you get the sage. Even with the Talent Shuffle, even with all the things available to you, Harm 4 was available at level 1, and Lightning 3. Lightning 3 is a huge find. I love it. And also Bane.
Quad X, that is a very good level 1. You got Bane for insta kills, Light 3 for your early sweeper. Quad X will also take care of pretty much anything on the lower continent. And we got nice cheap cabins, that's always great. Yeah, Harm 4 is not bad, but so situational. That White Mage is going to be good for Ice Cave, but not really doing too much here off the get-go. Spellzapp first out of Corneria by quite a decent margin, but ShadowWalker right behind him. Big walk on this first power cycle. Spellzapp able to get all the way to Temple of Fiends before that first, actually it looks like the second encounter.
Second encounter. And the thing is with Harm 4 there, you have a lot of safety inside of Temple of Fiends because a lot of the enemies are undead. But the other thing that Harm 4 allows you to do is you can just take an early pop grind against zombies. And that's always something you can do at that point.
Yeah, pop grind though, when you're at this caliber, if you're grinding, you're taking steps and going nowhere. Yeah, you're getting EXP, but there's plenty of EXP to be had on the go. I would be shocked to find either of these guys grind this early. I know Shadow yesterday went out and got some experience late, but he knew he needed it. This early, they're going to go, get that airship and try to pick up that experience in Sky. And we have Shadow, despite being behind, because Spellzapp took a reset, Quad X, Garland down, he's first out.
Not quite out yet. He still has to get away from these two spiders. Again, you still have encounters inside of Garland's room, which is annoying, but Lightning 3 takes care of him, and now we're going to see what we get. Looks like we're seabound today, with the king giving us the ship, and the loot coming from the princess.
Yep, ship, that opens up all kinds of possibilities for finding towns. That's great. You can hopefully find Elfland, you can hopefully find Provoca. Provoca will be level 2 magic and a key item. And get off the ground. They already have good magic, but they always take more.
Now, Demon. Typically what I like to do is I like to say, what do you think is going to be in Provoca? What do you think is going to be in Elfland? Personally, I'd like to see Lufane in Provoca because A, it's way out of the way. And I want to see Moment in Elfland.
Yeah, Melmond and Elfland, I mean, like, these three city checks here, Provoca, Elfland, and Melmond all early. You're going to have a good chance at finding Provoca because it has a key item. Also a reasonable chance of finding Lufine, not Airship Lock, because that's another key item. We have Gaia. Not useful yet, but good to check the armor shop, the item shop. We got chain armor, not bad. Silver bracelets, alright. Don't have the money just yet.
Chain is still nice. A 15 absorb, minus 15 evasion on your fighter, but it's still really, really solid early armor for both fighters and red mages. Unfortunately, the red mage walked the plank this week. No.
It's Spellzapp check-in, Matoy. I didn't realize it's a little bit of money, which is useful this early, but not. I don't know if it was worth the steps. Yeah, that chain armor is always really good early armor. That'll get you through until you can find. I think they had a flame armor in Temple of Fiends. I don't know that ShadowWalker. I don't know if
both of them have it. It was in the left chest on the top. So Spellzapp has it on his first night. ShadowWalker has it on his first night. So makes perfect sense. You definitely want to put the highest absorb in your first fighter slot, and both of them are doing that. Now ShadowWalker is following the same play that Spellzapp did because you do not want to orphan chest this early. If you find an early loose item in Matoya's cave and you did not check that, that is going to be a huge time loss.
Yeah, also this early, you want to find a big chest of money or a katana or something that you might be willing to vendor. Really get you off the ground if you do find Elfland. Elfland spells aren't cheap. Spellzapp checking here. Nothing in the item shop. ShadowWalker going to make the Elfland check. And we have Lufine. So no item shop, no weapon shop, level 8 magic shop, doesn't bother to check. Our NPC is Bahamut. And look at that, ShadowWalker resetting right by Corneria, made the check, could reset out. buttons and didn't have to sail north at all.
It is just showing how practiced these runners are gotten through these seeds with the town shuffle on. As ShadowWalker finds that Provoca is in the Melman slot today, and pulls the Pirates, and is going to use some Lightning 3 cast to get...
Which is a little dangerous, because Unsafe Pirates is on. These things could roll anything a normal monster could. He didn't check chops, he didn't go to the inn. That, that very well could be something as easy as a Fire 2 could have taken him down, but gets through it, Cure 3 in the white, and there's our floater. We are off to the races.
This is, as summoners like to call, a jet seat at this point.
Warp, Ice 3, Temper at level 2. This is definitely benefiting Shadow quite a bit with that double black. Plenty of offensive power. Warp, Temper this early is fantastic. And Spellzapp's White Mage, has that Harm 4, has Cure 3, but I don't know if that justifies a slot right now.
It definitely doesn't. It's a problem with this one. You're making a gamble here that you're going to run into a life lock situation. Now, the good news is that Spellzapp and ShadowWalker have not found life. And that is a big, big note for Spellzapp at this point. Even how stacked Black Magic is, it can still be White Magic locked at this point.
Yeah, we have to find Elflin. We'll see where it falls. Night Learning up to level 3 White Magic, and Ninja Learning up to level 4. So there's a good chance that ShadowWalker is going to be going again without the life spell on that night. Assuming we find the tail. Last night, tail was MIA.
Because there's only one level left, and it's only slot 1 and slot 3 that are night learnable. Again, the way to remember it is 1 and 3, between 1 and 1, level 1 and level 3 are 1 and 3 for both Knights and Red Wizard.
Alright, so Crescent Lake, we got Melman, ShadowWalker in the air, right at the 7-minute mark, literally 15 seconds behind them, Spellzapp. ShadowWalker made the check, did not see who the NPC was. That is one thing I did miss.
Looks like Spellzapp is going toward the spells to make sure that what he can find at level 5.
Life 2, level 5. So that's something that Spell will have access to, and Shadow won't. But Shadow picked up the key. The key is always fantastic early. There's so many chests. That opens up Martial Locked if you feel like going there. Fantastic find. Like I said, right now money is still a bit of a problem. That key will easily figure out that money problem. And that's what ShadowWalker does. He immediately says, "All right, I got the key. I'm gonna go rob that." The king wants me to save the world. The least he can do is give up a couple of chests. Sun Sword, Pro Cape, Opal Gauntlet, not bad.
I'd be happy finding Old Reliable there. The Sun Sword, one of the 5 quintessential endgame items, I'd say. You're looking for an endgame weapon for your fighter. That is one. Sun Sword is Old Reliable because, again, it's not the flashiest sword in the armory, but it will get the job done 100% of the time.
And it looks like Dwarves, I saw 14,000 out of 3,000. I saw Katana for sale. A lot of money in Dwarf, but nothing much. And yeah, that Sun Sword, especially with level 2 Temper, if you have to, that'll definitely get it done. And Shadow going Marsh pretty early, but with that easy warp and that hero run, you see him right there abusing it. That first fight, and then this run is going to get him all the way down almost to the 2nd floor.
I question how many chests he checks on the way here. You do have the key, so you can get your incentive item immediately from Mark. I think he's probably going to try and check every single chest in the way, and Spellzapp finds in Northwest Castle, we have a loose rod in the middle chest in Northwest Castle.
Yep, there's our first loose out of 3. That's awesome because you have quite a bit of firepower. You have the rod. You could make an Earth play, and that'll open up Crescent Lake. You don't really want to go to the North Continent. This low, you might end up exploring up there, but if you can have that Lich kill under your belt and have to walk all the way to find the Fine Crescent Lake, that would save a lot of time. Saw something with Stone on ShadowWalker's side. But he keeps going. Yeah, ShadowWalker's been doing this. Normally runners will check the top 3, and if there's nothing in there, reset out. What Shadow's been doing, his gamble has been, he goes south, there's that one chest in that room on B2 that is linked with one of the 3 chests when you go north. He checks that one, and the gamble is those other 2 don't have something you want.
Indeed. I think from our chat, Max Plus Pi says it was Stone Poison. And we appreciate everyone in the chat. I saw ETAP, John Rees. I think I saw Will Cleosis there, TNT 175. Lots of people from the chat. We love you guys. You keep showing up. You are hype. You're here. And you're ready to see some Final Fantasy 1 randomizer action. And we love you.
Yeah, kind of a comment from chat. Irangan, I'm sorry, I'm going to mess this up. Irangan. There are a couple places in the game where chests are linked. If you check one, it'll automatically empty the other. There's a couple here in Marsh. There's a couple in Fire. So if you ever see a player skipping a chest and it was an easy grab, that's almost certain. It's our bones with Stone Poison. We can see on Spellzapp's side. So there's our bones, got 3 of his 4. And the fighter's stunned. And our bones also have Thunder behind the Stone Poison.
Well, ShadowWalker still needs to get out of here with this item.
He's got plenty of warps. He is out. He definitely skipped a couple chests. He is making some gambles here. Got the TNT. I'd be shocked if he doesn't go check Northwest Castle for that rod. He's right there. He knows it's 3 chests. Good. All right, ShadowWalker, excellent. Hooray, Dwarf.
I approve this loss of exactly 1 second. The man said hooray to the dwarf, and Narek has her.
Alright, so we can get the entire world is now your oyster. You can get anywhere you want to get, and that's at the 12-minute mark. We have the entire game open to us, so we'll have to see where Shadow prioritizes stuff. Ice Cave might be not bad. He's got enough firepower. He's got all the warps you could ever want. Spellzapp's going to be just behind him.
Personally, for me at this point, I'd just definitely try and clear out as many chests as possible. So he probably will grab anything he needs out of Corneria. Then I would probably try and hit Cardia, and then grab chests potentially looking for the key item slot at this point, because we still have an item shop item that we have not. So going and checking all of them with the actual airship is a huge find. You can potentially find Elfland at this point, get some level 3 and 4 magic, and really make your way through the sea.
Yeah, and both runners, it looks like so far, opting to keep both fighters up. Sometimes you would imagine they might dan it and get a little more experience, but they are keeping both of them up.
I think the main thing is you really haven't found one of those key things. Like, you haven't found the Masamune, you haven't found the tail yet. And even then, like you said, we had heal 3 at level 2 magic, and that's a great spell for any sort of knight.
Alright, so Shadow's getting us a little check of the Cardias. Nothing so far. I really hope Shadow doesn't lump in that Northwest Castle. It is 3 chests. It's a bit of a walk. There's a flame sword. That's not too bad to put on your second fighter. And a light axe for harm 2. I hope those 3 Northwest chests aren't one of his go-to gambles, because that's a fiend and a key item he's going to be locking himself out of until probably the last moment.
It's an interesting point. He's actually foregoing the extra 2 base damage on the light axe for the extra hit rate on the flame sword. Flame sword is also really great against undead because it has a fire element to it. Some people will run a higher base damage weapon just because it's just, higher base damage. So it's just an interesting point to point on from ShadowWalker.
And in terms of gambles, I'm kind of surprised this island isn't there we go, and that's why every time I try to say something, It's wrong. There it is. Mazmoon.
The Masamune, the highest base damage weapon in the game. Some would say the best, like me, because base damage is a really good item to have. It scales very well with fast, it scales very well with a lot of other buffs. The only time that is actually weaker is against higher absorb enemies where crit matters.
And we had that instance yesterday. Tiamat 2 in Temple of Fiends was a brick wall. So finding that Vorpal, especially if you end up not making it through your first dive, getting that information and saying, all right, this fiend is paper, this fiend is good, I can nuke this one down, I need the Vorpal for this one. Good to know, but Mazmoon, that will definitely, again, especially with those tempers, that will get the job done, even on a fighter.
Well, the big thing about the Masamune and why it's so good is, again, it's usable by every single class in the game. It does not require the tail, unlike both the Excal, the Vorpal, and a lot of other swords that you would consider top tier.
Yep, and then if they can find the tail, they can move that Mazmoon. Well, both of them are running double fighter, so they would need to find a third sword in order to shunt that Mazmoon down to one of their mages, but Spellzapp just essentially following ShadowWalker. That little bit of trouble he found in Marsh Cave is pretty much the only amount he's behind. And Shadow gonna go ahead, check out Waterfall. I'm kind of surprised he didn't check out the town, but he's in the round of 4. He's in the semifinals. He's better than me.
I like this play here, just going and clearing out every single incentive chest that you can get to. And it's one of those where even mud goals, single mud goals, you can take that fight with the Masamune. But you don't really want to take it because it's not that great of you.
Yeah, and you see exactly what Shadow's doing. He fights, they're pretty weak. Fights on both fighters and runs on both black mages. And if he kills it and he gets the experience, great. And if he doesn't, he doesn't.
I love those kind of plays because, again, a failed run action is a loss of a potential turn, and using any sort of action during that thing, whether you have like a caster item or whatnot, is super useful. But Perilous have glance, and that's important to know. With this huge pack that ambushed,
and slow. I mean, it's not killing you, but Shadow's been in this fight now for 30 seconds before he could even attempt to get out of it. And Spellzapp making an Ordeals play, which for him, having that White Mage and Harm 4, pretty good, but those Arbones... Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm thinking Volcano. Never mind.
Yeah, it's
and
Gargoyles.
Yeah,
Gargoyles in Ordeals, but it's okay. The point of the matter is, he's still looking for potential Zombo encounters here with Harm 4.
Yep.
And it depends on how much of the encounter table is...
Oh, he almost thinks about it, but then goes ahead. Has plenty of Harm 4, nothing to do on that. One Harm 4 is not quite enough. Oh, they're a little beefy. Okay, they're a lot beefy.
They got slightly over 300 hit points at this point. We can tell by that point. The first Masamune hit for about 4-7, and the combined Lightning 3 and the Light Axe and the Harm 4 hit for a little bit over like 325-ish. So they're fairly beefy today.
Alright, yeah, while Spellzapp is just wandering his way through that maze, he has Warp, so he can use that to his advantage. Pillars are shuffled, and he makes through pretty much for second try. Loose key item in Waterfall. Adamant and the robe. Oh, gives us the white shirt. Or vice versa.
So the robot gave us the adamant, and the white shirt was
okay.
In the chest. It was in the 4th chest of Waterfall.
That white shirt, that's something that I think both of these runners were really hoping to find yesterday after that bottleneck. Because they both hit the Carry 2 and Tia 2 bottleneck, and we're just getting walloped, and that white shirt would have been great. Spellzapp getting worked over here a little bit. White Mage is down, one of the fighters is down. Yeah, that is correct what Cleosis in chat pointing out. ShadowWalker has Opal Bracelet. That's awesome. That's a great find, especially with these mages. Yeah, Shadow has not checked Northwest Castle. We know we'll have to. Adamant turns into Oxyel, so that is a required trip to the waterfall.
As chat pointing out, Opal Bracelet is one of the incentivized items, so that's our second loose at this point. So.
I'm trying to see what else in these. Nothing in the chest, and we'll see what is in this last incentive chest. It is a ribbon. Always good to see, but that means this entire trip was not required in any way. So that's something, if Shadow can route out, and he can, by process of elimination, not do ordeals. He'll be out an Opal Bracelet and a ribbon, sure, but if you can get through without it, that's a big amount of time that he can make up.
Now, I know everyone in chat is like me and thinking about what's the trolliest way that you could troll a sea at this point. Well, me looking at this point, I gotta say the trolliest way is put the cube in Titan's Tunnel, and then put the ruby in Mirage Tower after you have to do a long quest to find that chart.
There's only one loose left on the table, if memory serves, because we have Rod loose and Opal Bracelet loose.
You are correct on that aspect. But, you know, you can still, you know, find, in an incentive location, let's say, you know, Ice Cave, you find, like, the crown that leads to...
Level 3, nuke and fast. Elfland is fine, that's great. You only have to make this trip once as long as you have enough money. And for ShadowWalker, between Lit 3, Ice 3, nuke, fast, temper, warp. Oh, Cure 4 and Fade in level 3. Spellzapp's going to be really excited to get that White Mage contributing when he gets there. And Brack, Confuse, Ice 2. I mean, still not bad. But those first level 3s for Black Magic are almost everything you could want. Oh, and our vendor item in New Lafine, aka Elfland, is a 51,000 gold slab.
Slab is definitely a find at this point, and we do know that the Bahamut is in the Elfland spot. But I don't believe any of our runners actually saw if Dr. Una is actually in Melmond. Or is he hanging out in Bahamut?
I believe someone said that they saw that it was the Elf Doctor in Melmond. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. So I believe we'll have to make a trip down to Bahamut's lair to go ahead and get that slab translated. And Shadow knows that. He takes that slab, he knows exactly where he's going, and we know where Lafine is. That was early. Just racking up those key items. And it's really important to note, these guys are doing this like, so efficiently. They're not taking that many fights because they don't have that 15 key items yet to get that experience boost. They're trying to get that as much as they can before they really start taking fights. Alright, Shadow looking like he might make... Alright, yep, he's going to make the Ordeals play. We know this is not required, but it's going to be really nice to have. Especially after last night, only one ribbon to start. No defenses against a really tough Topher. Good to see. Spellzapp and Shadow just pretty much just swapping places.
I mean, pretty much. Let's be honest here. It's like making a play for an incentive location is definitely a great move to make, especially since ShadowWalker is going to probably find his Opal Bracelet at the same time and know that there's only one more loose item. Except he has not found the rod in Northwest Castle, which means he's going to think there's still...
Yeah, Shadow, I mean, we have Oxyale. That's a lot of chest, Shadow is going for chest density. He's skipping quite a few one-off chests. C might be a play for him earlier than not with the Brack and Mazza fast. He's got all kinds of stuff to take care of C. We'll see how long he puts off that required northwest chest check. I do have to say, between Danny and we have Dark Moon and we have Dengwu here tracking, and then like I said, Danny's done a tremendous amount of tracking. The notes these guys are taking behind the scenes is amazing. If you need a recap, I could just screen cap all this, post it, and you guys would be done.
God, I love our community that comes in behind us and makes everything work in the back end. Anybody who does a tracking job here has done a fantastic job. I don't think I've ever run into somebody who has either not learned how to do something a little bit better every seed that they've tracked, or has proven me consistently just wowing me with their ability to follow everything that's going on screen while we're talking about other stuff, so.
Alright, Spellzapp getting out of Waterfall. We'll see what his next play is. Looking for the vendor item. We know it's in New Lafine. That's a really good check while you're right there. Took him, what, 10 seconds to make sure it wasn't there. You don't want to make that gamble that it's not, because that does count as a vendor location. That's where it is in vanilla. Just because things are shuffled doesn't mean that it can't be in its vanilla location. And then while these guys are kind of following each other's footsteps, so we have this side of the bracket with Spellzapp and ShadowWalker kind of representing the newer school of runner. Meanwhile, tomorrow on Speed Gaming, 8 o'clock, we have Tyrannex versus Crabcakes, kind of representing the older school of Final Fantasy Randomizer. They're going to have their first game of their best of 3 tomorrow. And should this round need to go to a best of 3, that will be Friday night, 8 o'clock.
Now, just to point out here, though, we found both Flame Armor and Ice Armor. Ice Armor was in Ordeals, and those are both best in slot items for the fighter at this point, providing, fire and ice resistance, respectively. But they are still the best absorb items that you can get, in addition to having that. So you don't even need to find that tail at this point, potentially. You find another ribbon, you've already found the Masamune from both of our runners at this point, and you could just go it and just say, I do not need the tail, I'm just going to push it. I have temper, I have fast at low levels, I just need levels at this point with these high absorb items.
Yeah, that definitely is on the table with Mazza, with Ice, if they can find the Ice Shield, Flame Shield combo, and another ribbon, it would be very doable without the tail here. A little dangerous on Shadow's side, seeing as how he's not going to have... Well, he's not going to have any life anyway, but that tail would open up Dragon Armor, Aegis, all that kind of good stuff. Level 6, I saw Life and Exit. Crown, there we go. That is the little bread trail that Shadow may have needed to get him into Northwest Castle. When he's in there, I don't think he's going to skip up those 3 chests, but we are about to find out. And there it is. We got our tail, so that's off the table. We don't really have much in the way of gear to really need it. Magic isn't too great on the Knights, but if we do find Vorpal, Excalibur, all that good stuff. And Shadow would have warped out if he was going to, so he's going to go ahead and get his rod.
Shadow was one of the first runners I've ever played against, and one of the first lessons that he ever told me is don't orphan chest. And the only time that you ever see him orphan the chest is if it's really, really far step count, like a north marsh play when you're going to go check just the south portion or things.
Yep, exactly. He's definitely right, and he's right there promoted, so there we go. So I don't think there's much in the way of gear. There's the opal bracelet. I'm sorry, the opal gauntlet. Because we haven't found pro rings. That's one thing that neither of our runners have found yet is pro rings, and those are fantastic.
8 absorb, resist death element, best in slot for anybody who's not going to equip a power gauntlet in that slot. Yes, I definitely.
Alright, so Shadow just doing a little bit of cleanup after getting that promotion. Picks up Cure 3s. Just topping up, and we'll see where he goes. Spellzapp right behind him. These guys are essentially a minute apart. I don't know that there's much of a check that one of the has made that the other hasn't right now. Alright, yeah, so we have rods, so we have access to Earth, and that's exactly where Shadow's going. I'll be really curious to see how many chests he leaves behind here. We're still loose in item, so he doesn't check the top. He's going to leave that if he needs to come back. He wants the rod. He wants to get that key, and he wants to see if he is ready to go. We have rod, we have Oxyale, we have loot, we have key, we need chime, and we need cube.
Yep, pretty much chiming cube is what we're looking for at this point. That is the problem that we're running.
Alright, so Shadow checking those greed chests, but leaves the second further southwest chest. And a bit of a deviance here now. Spellzapp. Gonna go ahead dig ice. I think this is a great play where he's at. Warp makes this super simple. Finds a gold bracelet, or has a gold bracelet. I'm not sure if we bought him or found it, but a little bit of menuing. And one thing I do want to point out is menuing. Like I said, the run last night was right around a 40-second difference, one player to the other. If you add up menu time over the course of a game, you could find 40 seconds just in menuing.
I mean, that is definitely something that every veteran runner will tell a duckling. You can always find time in your seats. If you menu, if you move a little bit more efficiently through places, practice those things. That's how you cut down your time. And what you see here is a epitome of somebody taking that practice and putting into application. That's why these are top 4 runners right now.
And there was our second ribbon. Shadow starting to feel pretty good. Mazmoon 2 ribbons. I'm sure he wouldn't mind a little more armor for those nights. Looking like he's going to clear out at least this floor, and we'll see. The big question I have is the next floor. There's quite a few steps to get to that lower room, and it's quite deep. Do you leave that on the table for 3 chests, or do you go ahead and clear it since you're this deep?
I would check every single chest on this one. You have still loose items. You don't ever want to try and go back to Earth.
Yeah, this deep, I definitely would as well. Spellzapp picking up the herb out of the ice incentive. We still can turn into quite a few things that we need. Yeah, I agree. I would check it this deep. Like, I understand leaving the top floor. The second floor, I don't even know if I would necessarily leave that room, personally speaking.
Second floor is not that bad, and the big thing about that is you check top floor, you reset out. You check second floor, you reset out. Not a big hit. You don't leave bottom floor. The floor 4 is just too deep. You check those chests.
Yeah, and chat pointing out also an opal shield, which is a good pickup considering that we have already promoted great shield. Shadow not finding too much in that north room. Other than Opal Shield and the herb, which we don't know is going to turn into anything just yet out of that ice cave.
Problem is he he hadn't taken the time to heal up. He was in a risky situation with that 4 wizard fight. Those have stun. And you could have easily had a wipe there if you didn't want to heal up. He decided to take the time there and actually, you know, heal up.
Yeah, learned his lesson. Definitely had a block mage go down. And these wizards are clumped up and just back to back to back. At least they're runnable, but with that stun, that can get a little... You can get caught. There's one paralyzed. And Bill gets him out of there. And here's another pack of them. Shadow saying, I don't care. This is done. This is stupid. Have a nuke.
I perfectly agree with that. You know you're running into some enemy on a high encounter table. Just kill. You can try and run away with the people who don't have AoEs, but definitely use some sort of AoE to make sure that even if you fail it, they're not going to be an issue in the second.
Alright, Spellzapp picked up a Thor hammer. It's not too bad. You still have C to go. That's good. Frostwolves have Cremate. Not a great monster to have it. Usually a lot of them will show up on screen at once, but one nuke clears them out. We'll check these last 2 checks. Cabin and a Pure. So we have the handful of chests on B1 of Ice, and we'll... Oh, there's those R-Bones. Oh no! Dan gets him out. Does he have enough? I don't see any softs.
He doesn't have any softs. He is down to 1 light warrior to get him out of this light ice cave. The good news is he does not have to check the chest in the incentivized chest because he warp trucked his way through the
6 wizard pack. Luckily got out. If he got that stun off, picks up the Aegis shield, but with those wizards hanging around, nah, not worth it. Get out, Spellzapp.
As we have ShadowWalker pulling the Lich, let's see who does the dry cleaning today. Tark comes out from the Lich, ineffective, swings in, 3 hits, 181. Masamune swings in for 237, and the nuke comes in and does 234 damage, but does not complete the purple dry cleaning. But a second nuke comes in, and we have completed the dry cleaning. The purple robe is against the wall. It's clean. It's ready to go. There is no more skeleton fragments on it.
And 37 minutes 30, we have our first orb on Shadow's side. Spellzapp went ahead, picked up those softs, bought a bunch of them because we're going to see those R-Bones later. And picking up Harm 4. That's a great thing to remember, to pick up that Harm 4. If anything unrunnable or anything you need to sweep out, Harm 4 would be great on that night. We'll see where Shadow's trying to go here. Crescent like to pick up the key item.
To answer the man. Okay, so the way this works is there is this quote-unquote flag called Zozo Melman, where every desert tile is an encounter tile. And one of the rarer encounters on the desert tiles is actually a 9-pack of pirates. And it just happens to be pretty high up on the encounter table today.
And potentially Womps with a ruby for the trouble of that herb. So he got an Aegis out of it, and an Opal Shield actually, so he has 2 knights. Again, good pickups, but not what you want to go all the way through ice for.
But ShadowWalker, using his Clear of Earth to get the incentivized item from the Circle of Sages, gets the Chime. And due to the fact that we found the Ruby at this point, we know that the 3rd loose item will most likely be required. It's going to be some sort of play where you're going to find like either the bottle, or I believe the crystal, or both of them through that quest to find the cube.
Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a fetch chain to get that to get the cube. Shadow making the decision that it's worth the walk, and I agree, especially after the bottleneck last night to go pick up that Cure 4 on those nights. That's huge. That makes you braver than you rightfully should be sometimes. So as I'm finding a pro ring, again, I don't know that I've seen where pro rings were for sale, and I'm pretty sure we've seen everywhere. And there it is.
Oh, goodness me.
Volcano Armory has the bottle. So between the two runners, we know where it is. We know what the pieces are, and we know ShadowWalker's about to waste about 5 or 6 minutes.
That is huge from Spellzapp's side. And for those of you for game 3 and
third ribbon, that is a stacked armory. It's required, so we know Shadow's going to pick up his third ribbon.
oh goodness, this is opened up at this point at the 40-minute mark. This is pretty much go mode at this point for Spellzapp. I don't think of any reason that you wouldn't want to say that this is quote-unquote go mode. I would just go and turn in that bottle as soon as you clear carry and just go from that point.
Yeah, I mean, they're missing... They have the white shard, they don't have defense, no power bonk, but they have plenty of fast, plenty of temper. Wouldn't mind a little bit of a better sword than Sun Sword on the second night. If I can swing it, I might be checking those super easy chests, but yeah, he can just plow through and be done at this point.
I mean, this is a huge find. Now, the ribbon that Spellzapp missed, I believe, was in Earth. I believe that was in the quote-unquote free chest in Earth 3.
Yeah, that was in Earth, the vampire floor. There was a ribbon. He may check it, but now that he's in go mode 2 ribbons and a white mage, we'll see. Right now, he is... Nope, he's not even checking left side. There's a room there with a chest. Only the bottom chest. Yeah, he is pedal on the metal. He knew he lost yesterday's match by 40 seconds. And he does not plan to lose by 40 seconds again.
He is only checking chests that are either quote-unquote free or that have a decent EXP grind behind it, like these Agamas, which he's already fought one of them on his way through. I believe that was on Volcano 3, and he knows that those are squishy. So he's grabbing some free XP on his way through this room, and then probably booking his way on.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to sit here. This is just going to be a couple of kills and keep it moving. So that's one thing when you're learning this game, grinding up and getting the experience is fine. But when you're racing, you need to learn and know how to take the experience as it comes. You can't be, like I said before, if you're grinding, you're walking but going nowhere. Yeah, you're getting experience, but you can get that experience in Sky and in Sea and be making progress at the same time. 5 hits of the white mage. Go ahead, getting fasts out, getting nukes out, going ahead swinging. 5 hits, 51. Actually a pretty beefy carry. Another nuke, 126. Another swing with the Mazmoon. 4 hits, 174. Takes her down. But not without loss. That white mage did go down. So Spellzapp lighting his first orb. 44 minutes flat, we'll call it. Tying up the orb count. And then Spellzapp has to know at this point where that bottle leads, so he's just getting some people up. He knows it in his head. He's going to go ahead, check Earth. And I would say it's 50-50 if he picks up that ribbon. He seems to be checking some greed chests here and there, but He's not taking a lot at all, so we'll see if he picks up that ribbon in Earth B3 here.
I think the big thing is ShadowWalker is actually moving through Ice Cave at this point, and he is moving through all the chests at this point. He has his herb from the incentivized chest. He just needs to make. Unfortunately, that's only going to lead to the ruby, while Spellzapp is booking it through Earth Cave at this point.
Oh, and there's those dangerous R-bones. Bill gets them away. I had a bit of a question in chat. So for this round, the fighter, and it will be forced in every round of 4. The red mage is banned in every round of 4. The second fighter for this seed was forced, leaving that third slot available for the runner to choose. Spellzapp taking the white mage, Shadow taking the second black mage.
Yes, both the third and the fourth slot are available to choose. The fighter is just because the seed rolled that the first mate was. It could have been any of the classes except for the red mage.
And yep, chat pointing out, I was about to point out as well, Zap will be going with 2 ribbons. He is passing up on that ribbon.
Yep, it was in the free chest on Earth 3, which Spellzapp has just passed. He does not want to try and take the time. It is 1 encounter square to take that chest. Spellzapp does not want to take, 3 encounter squares to take that chest. He does not want to take those 3 encounter squares. He's going to...
And Shadow doing a bit of a grind, kind of going against what I was saying. He is going to try to get some experience getting out of here. He does have warp, so it should be really easy for him to get out, but maybe wants to just beef up a little bit before taking on anything else.
Alright, well, I've got some people asking for a mono recap in the stream, so I'm just going to go ahead and take it at this point. We have both of these runners. One of them, each of them has an orb apiece at this point, but let's go back and take a look at the beginning of the entire... We had 2 runners at this point. ShadowWalker, 1 fight away from advancing in the tournament, takes a double fighter, double black mage setup. Spellzapp takes a double fighter, because fighter and first mate are force, and a black mage, white mage, with the red mage being banned for this week. Cannot take the red mage. We found out that level 1 is more black mage favored, with only harm 4 coming out. We found that in level 2 you could have the cure 3, and at level 3 you could have cure 4 for your white mage. But with Quad X, Bane and Lightning 3 at level 1, Warp, Ice 3, and Temper at level 2, Nuke, Fast, and Fade at level 3, and then you had Brack at level 4 and Life 2 at level 5, it's going to be a case of how much is there available to stop our runners at this point. We had a very early seed that opened up very quickly because the King gave us a ship, Sarah gave us a loot, and then Bicky, who is in Melmond location, gave us a floater. At that point, we were almost 7 minutes in. These runners found the floater within 15 seconds of each other in Bicky's location at Melmond Town, where we found out later on that Sarda held the key, Astos loose Northwest Castle, the center chest in Northwest Castle held the rod, Marsh location had the TNT location, which turned into our canoe from Narek, Waterfall Robot had our adamant, which turned into the Oxyale from the blacksmith. The vendor was a slab item. I believe that was in the the Gaia location. And we found that the crown turned in from Lufane to the tail. The ice incentive turned into the herb, which to the ruby, which ShadowWalker just found. And the sages led to our chime, which once you found the rod, because again, you had to complete Earth to get the sages location. Because Circle of Sages, early Circle of Sages flag was checked off, means you have to complete Lich first. The bottle was loose in Armory, which Spellzapp is about to find out that the bottle is about to turn into our crystal, which is exactly what we found out and decided that that's probably the way the seed's going to roll. that crystal should turn it into our cube very shortly.
Yeah, but while you were giving that recap, Spellzapp, go ahead, went ahead and killed something on the bottom of Earth. I don't know what it was. There's an orblet, so I guess he's up in orb. I don't know. ShadowWalker, starting to spin his wheels a little bit. Checked the Ruby location. He's in the neck of the woods. He's gonna check these Earth chests. Finds a dragon armor. Not bad. That's a good pickup. Not what he wanted to see. We know he needs to get to Volcano Armory before he is going to be in his go mode.
The other thing that we found was life was level 6. So again, Spellzapp has the advantage in safety at this point, with all life magic being locked behind a white mage.
Yeah, and that probably lets him feel... I do remember seeing a wall at... I believe it was Heal 3 and Wall were level 3. So he's going with 2 ribbons, but he has Wall, he has Heal 3 as a backup. He probably feels pretty comfortable with going with 2 ribbons, one on the fighter, one on the white mage. And then just the longer that Shadow takes before going to Volcano, Spellzapp is just, he is not playing around now. He said he lost by about 40 seconds. He is going, Shadow looks like he's making the right play. Minus, okay, there we go. I was going to say minus not saving outside.
Now, I do want to make a quick point here. I do appreciate our trackers in the background, both Dangwu and Darkmoon EX. They are taking intricate notes for us. Spell levels, town locations, chest locations. I am just going to post something up in the actual chat in a second of the direct notes that we're being given as a commentary group, because these guys are giving us so much work on the back end. They deserve a follow. Spellzapp, ShadowWalker, our top 4 runners in the spring tournament of 2019 deserve follows as ShadowWalker finds his bottle. These guys are doing so much work. You should definitely give them a follow. That's a direct quote. Level 3 has Nuke, Fast, Fade, Cure 4, Heal 3, and Wall. Thanks to our runners, man. They are on top of this stuff, man. Love.
Yeah, down to the second when they got their orbs, it makes our recaps a lot easier. Because I know when I first started tracking, we didn't really do the behind-the-scenes tracking like this, and you had to have a piece of paper scribbled with everything. So it definitely makes keeping us informed, keeping you informed. It makes it a tremendous amount easier for us to keep eyes on what's going on screen. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's tracking. It's been great doing this. We see Spellzapp already in Sky. He's not checking anything. I think he's in the goest of modes now. ShadowWalker found that bottle, 1 ounce saved, and he's got his foot on the pedal probably just as hard as Spellzapp now. The Grogers coming back from last night. Last night they had Nuke and were unrunnable. Or actually, they might have been runnable, but they did have Nuke. Not giving them the trouble this time. So I suspect that we'll see Shadow pass by pretty much everything in Volcano now, especially with him finding that dragon armor. He has the 3rd ribbon. He has Mazmoon. Spellzapp checking some chests, probably using this as an opportunity to take some experience fights. With Mazmoon, you want to be 24. Usually by the time you're past carry, you want to be 24 for an extra hit. Something bodying one of Spellzapp's knights. Didn't catch what that was. And ShadowWalker, yeah, just taking the easiest chests. Taking a minute to heal up.
Once again, I think this is a case of these runners are trying to go as fast as possible. They're skipping as much healing as possible. That's what I thought I saw from Spellzapp. But it also may have been a case of he's been trying to Dan off one of his fighters at this point. He is like, oh, I need the one fighter at this point with the Masamune. He's trying to pile on as much experience on Dan.
Yeah, since you didn't find Excalibur, you didn't find Vorpal or anything, ShadowWalker pulling carry. You know, she's a little tanky, but nothing dangerous. Dan, 69 damage, 5 hits, but it just blinks off. Double nuke, 118, 178, and a strike from the Masmoon, 236. Carry lasts till one more round. 4 hits, 251, and done. Ice, Shield, Wizard Staff, Spellzapp, Side Shadow goes ahead, ties up the orb count, but Spellzapp's already about halfway through Sky.
I definitely agree with this play, guys. For people in chat, Spellzapp is taking levels at this point. He's taking EXP that he needs at this point anyways, and he's checking chests in the meantime. That's the way you always think about this. If you're in Sky, there are a lot of high-yielding EXP enemies in here. So he's just basically getting chest checks at the meantime. So he could potentially find something that he may want, like a Vorpal, an Excalibur, a Defense Sword. You know, he hadn't found the 3rd ribbon at this point, so he may think that, oh, maybe the ribbon's still out here. We know where the ribbon is, but again, he's checking chests on the way to grab as much EXP as possible.
Yeah, if you're gonna check chests for that, you know, that defense or those last little bits and pieces you want, Sky and Sea also works to an extent. We have the EXP pinatas, the big eye gray shark fight. Those are also really good experience fights. These are where you want to be taking them. That's why you saw him skip so many chests in Volcano. The fights just weren't worth it. Whereas here, I don't think I've seen Spellzapp run from a single fight. I think he's taking everything he can.
But again, it's just an efficiency play. You can check chests, take high-yielding EXP fights, and just still keep moving on towards your priority.
And about just a hair under 57 minutes, Shadow is in official, have everything go mode. Shadow opting to do C first. But I suspect we'll see something pretty similar to Spellzapp, maybe running from a few of the nastier fights in C, but taking the big EXP fights, checking the really easy chests. I'm sure he would love a defense after the run last night. Just a little bit of safety.
Personally, for me, if I was ShadowWalker at this point, I'd check exactly 3 chests on my way towards Kraken. And those chests would be on the floor, I believe that would be 6. The 2 quote-unquote free chests that cost you exactly 3 steps, and the 1 chest in Sharknado room that costs you no steps.
Yeah, I imagine that's what we're going to see. I know that there was a couple chests in Volcano that did the exact same thing. Would pop into the room, run along the bottom. Oh, Sea Snake's having crack. That's no good.
Spellzapp is going toward the Bridge of Destiny, though. If you guys want to see Mr. Destructoid in all of his gloriness, any sort of inputs that you want the Death Metal Robot to produce for these runners tonight, Spellzapp is on the Bridge of Destiny tonight.
And even, Bridge of Destiny, pretty much every fight here is also just full of experience, even if it's not a war mech. And we see him, and a Will Cleosis veteran move has nothing to do with the White Mage, rather than try to fight, which takes up time, using those bracelets a little bit faster than menuing and letting the attack animation. On ShadowWalker's side, we saw that for just a blink of an eye, the EXP Pinata fight.
Well, Spellzapp has hit 2 of the Wotian specials, the 4 Red Hydras, which is a great EXP fight, especially with Ice 3, that your Black Magic can use at this point. Clears through these enemies very quickly, and they're worth, almost 3,000 EXP at this point, so with all the things that you get, 2,000 EXP.
It's a bit of a run, only a couple of airs. Alright, Spellzapp, just about the hour mark, spot on. Gonna be pulling his 3rd orb, Tiamat coming up. respecting Tiamat a little bit, using that white shirt, getting some defense, some evasion up. 2 hits, 16 damage. There was no reason to respect Tiamat. Oh, maybe the absorb. Oh, ShadowWalker found the defense. Sharknado room, far left chest. He was... I'm surprised he did that. Like you said, Q. I was thinking he would check that bottom chest only and book it. He didn't. He got the defense. That's a big find.
Well, let's be honest. Like, it cost you 4 steps to check 2 more chests.
And broken into pieces on Spellzapp side. There's his 3rd orb. Minute or hour 30, we'll call it.
Brag strats. Oh well. But ShadowWalker finds his defense. Costs him 4 steps to find it, as he's going to pull his Kraken fight very shortly. Spellzapp is on his way to Kraken as well, so he's going to fall very shortly behind into this particular dungeon, but he has an orb lead.
Yeah, he has an orb lead. Shadow, I don't know what else. I mean, yes, the Power Bonk is still out there. But with Fast, with Mazza, with Temper, I guess you could also maybe want a Vorpal for your second night, but at this point, it's pretty obvious that one night's going to be your killer, the other one's just going to be up front to take some fights and to take some hits to the head. I don't even know that I would really value a second sword a whole lot. I'd rather be stacking those Tempers on one person than splitting them up. So I don't know that we'll see Shadow check another chest the whole game.
I don't think we really will. I think it's one of those where I think ShadowWalker is going to make about the same play that Spellzapp did. Is going to... Oh! No, he's just going to say it really quick before he leaves. Okay. I think he's going to make about the same play that Spellzapp did, where he goes and grabs potentially levels from, like, Sky 1, Sky 3, potentially, if he thinks he needs it. Otherwise, he's going to book it to the floor.
I'm going to try to... Yeah, because we see Spellzapp. He just hit 21 on his side. I'm going to try to get a look at ShadowWalker's side and see. I think he's upper teens, like 18, 19. Oh, God, he's so fast. And you see Shadow there preparing, burning those cabins so that those heal pots are, you just have to go in your menu, hit up, and you're on your heal potions. It removes a button press, speeds healing up.
I think Shadow's just going to take any sort of high XP yielding fight on his way through. From the looks of it, because he took this 5 vampire fight, which, you know, is semi-tanky. And they have cremate, but with his higher levels, it's not a big issue. But I don't think he's going to take pretty much anything other than that. Spellzapp is very, very close to his free chests on Sea Shrine, so...
Yeah, we'll see if he passes defense up or if he checks the three chests in this room. There's the one. He will pick up his defense. So gear-wise, Shadow is up a dragon armor and a ribbon on Spellzapp. Spellzapp has the extra security of the Waymate. And Shadow hitting level 20, so yeah, he's on pace to be 22, 23 by the end of this and pick up that magic level 24 for that Mazmoon before Kraken, probably before Carry.
Personally, at this point, with both Life and Life 2 at level 5 and 6 respectively, if he puts a ribbon on that white wizard at this point, Spellzapp has a level 3 fade for his white wizard, which is going to carry him throughout TFFR. And this is a difficult thing to say, because they found about the same equipment at this point, but Spellzapp is pulling Kraken at the 1 hour, 4 minute mark. ShadowWalker is working his way through Sky and picking up some experience fights on his way through.
Yeah, Spell definitely has started to eke out a little bit of a lead here, with only a very minor amount of gear separating it.
as he's swinging in and does about 200 damage for this nuke. Nuke hits for 282 and Kraken is
That's
dead.
it.
Spellzapp is through Kraken and has all 4 orbs lit at the 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's amazing. 105 will be entering Temple of Fiends, probably 107, 108, depending on if he needs to get heal potions and just get, all those last little bits in order. He's got Cure 4s on the Knights, Cure 3s on the Knights. He's got Harm 4, he's got Life 2 ribbons. Spellzapp has pretty much everything he could need. We're going to need to see a pretty big gatekeeper to prevent him from doing this in one round.
This is, like, I said this was a quote-unquote jet seed when they found the floater from Vicky. That's not a quote-unquote at this point. We need to find a equalizer Topher at this point, because we may see a record broken tonight. I believe the fastest seed for this tournament is in 1 hour and 22 minutes. Spellzapp is positioned at this point to break that record.
Yeah, very easily entering right at 106. And here we go. We'll have to see if we have the Great Equalizer. Like I said, it's not over till it's over. Last night we entered 115, I believe, but we didn't get a dot done until around 140 because of just how bad Temple of Fiends was. But Spellzapp is pretty stacked gear-wise. Looks like he's right about the correct level to be doing this. We will see. Meanwhile, on ShadowWalker's side, we are looking for our chicken robot overlord. Shadow turning down some fights. Looks like he's comfortable with his level, so he's going to be booking it. He's not going to be as far behind. There he is. Found him. And Shadow is saying, yes, sir.
Initiating hugging servos.
ShadowWalker, potentially, even if he doesn't win, a champion of the people, taking on Warmech. Throwing out fast, throwing out nukes, all fire 3. There's another nuke. Warmech has ice 3. Another nuke, 155, swing from the Mazza, 7 hits for 32 or 320. 8 hits, 614, takes it down.
I am Warmech. Please insert grinder for EXP.
And there you go, 22. And Spellzapp throwing us for a bit of a loop. Entered at 106, isn't happy with his levels. Is not proceeding to actually try and get down to Chaos. Is on the Earth floor looking to get some levels. Finding back-to-back Earths, it's not really what you want here. You want to find that really big green Medusa pack. And looking back, this might be the moment that Spellzapp kicks himself for. There's a good fight on his side, but ShadowWalker pulling Tiamat. 4 hits, 4 damage. Looks like he's hanging his hat on the Brack strats, though. Oh, 2 hits, 281. Tiamat's down. ShadowWalker has his 4th orb at, we'll call it 109 by the time he gets to his airship. And that Warmech probably gave an extra level or 2 to Shadow that he felt to be comfortable. If he's shooting for 24, then he'll be there right as he needs to be. But yesterday, 24 wasn't good enough to get you through. I think 27, 28 is what our runners ended up being at before they were able to, really ShadowWalker was able to get through clean. And Spellzapp just finding those mud goals, rock goals, not bad with what you have. And it looks like he was really trying to get Rich bumped off here. Alright, Shadow burning that 1 encounter, coming in the Temple of Fiends, 109.30.
I think this is going to be a case of, are the Fiends bad? Because Spellzapp is taking this extra time to get the levels. If the Fiends are bad, Spellzapp has the advantage. But ShadowWalker is just going for a straight dive at this point, and that's to be respected.
Yeah, and that's especially because Spellzapp already had the Way Mage up on Shadow. Maybe just getting a little shaken from the run last night where it was so bad, taking that little bit of time, get those few extra level. You may not have needed them. We don't know yet. Yeah, and a comment in chat. I would have. Yeah, I don't know that I agree with where his levels were. That the grinding that way was necessary. We'll see. But you could have picked up experience, like we were saying before. You can pick up that experience and keep progressing. Like right here, these worms. You have zombie Ds. Those are pretty good experience, especially with Harm 4 on those nights. You could AoE them if you would like. There's a lot of experience to be had in Temple of Fiends as you're progressing. I don't know that a grind here, unless you find it necessary, was the best play.
I mean, this is, again, outsider point of view. Like, each runner is going to make their own play. But we have, at this point, ShadowWalker at least one floor ahead of Spellzapp. And that is to be noted.
And I was thinking, it was looking like Shadow was taking some fights here and there, but did run away from that 2-worm fight. Those worms are fantastic experience. So he must be happy with where he's at. He's looking up, and Rich is down on Spellzapp's side. I know he was trying to get him down.
But we see our first Fiend fight revisited, and ShadowWalker is respecting the purple robe that is clad in bone.
Well, he has the information, and it's your swing for 133, saving those good, better spells. Try and lit 3 against lit. Mazmoon, Swinger, 4 hits, 349, and there you go. Good in that nothing happened, but you have the information from Warmech of some tier 3, some tier 2 spells. You didn't see anything from Lich. We don't know where any of the nukes, any of the nuclear, Swirl, Tornado, Cure 4, we know where nothing is right now on these feet.
I think the big point is, again, like Wilcleosis is saying in chat, how long do these black mages last? Because it only takes one swing to knock these guys out. One good clear spell can knock these guys out. How long do these black mages last during these feed fights? Because he has no life magic. You lose those support spells, you could be a dead ShadowWalker.
Now he has fast enough carry, rightfully enough has fire 3, another swing from the Mazmoon, 881, and is still upright. This carry has in the neighborhood of 1300 health. That is a pretty beefy carry. We saw fire 3. So we knew, I believe it was Ice 3 and like a Fire 2, Lit 2, something along those lines out of Warmech. Fire 3 out of Carry. Lich didn't live long enough to see what Lich may have had.
Spellzapp's about to pull him, so let's see if we have anything at this point. That's a big point. Spellzapp is giving him his credit and trying to pull him, as ShadowWalker is on his way to...
Leaving his massive swinger, 300 damage. Again, Spellzapp doing the same thing. Lit 3, not saving those good charges, and Lich is down. So the world may never know. Alright, Shadow picking up, taking these water fights. I didn't see what level he's at. If he's not at 24, this is a fantastic fight to try and get it right before what can very often be one of our gatekeepers. And there we go, 24. That's what he was shooting for. He hit it at the exact, almost to the step, the right point. He's a step, maybe 2 away, 2 steps away. There you go. Fight, trying to decide, throwing a fast on his Mazmoon, and a nuke. 4 hits, didn't see what that swing did. Got a fast up, lit 2 from Kraken, so we haven't seen anything dangerous. That's really scary. Swing, 8 hits, 704. Kraken still upright. Swing from his top fighter for 53. Quad X from Kraken. Lit 3 for 97. Shadows through. Kraken 2. But again, we've seen nothing but kind of the wimpy stuff. We've seen tier 3s, tier 2s. Quad X isn't really that big of a deal. They could have been on Lich. They could be deeper in the rotation, but the deeper you go and you don't see that stuff, you're happy and you're sad at the same time.
Again, we still haven't seen tier 4. We still haven't seen the nukes. We still have not seen slow 2. And all of those could play a huge factor at this point. Again, it really only takes one good high roll to clear off these black mages. They have less than 300 health. You see a nuclear that rolls high, they are dead.
Yeah, that's the game. That's the dangerous game that Shadow's playing with his double black mage setup, especially going in level he's at, but going ahead and kind of the same setup, fasting the Mazza wielder, showing a little more respect, throwing out a white shirt. Four hits, 170, not too much. 2 hits, 2 damage, but that's his Sun Sword Knight. Did a defense on his second Knight, so he's about halfway to evasion cap, and that's all he's going to go, starting to load up that second fighter. 2 hits, 80. Ice 2 out of Tiamat. Again, nothing nasty. Mazza swing, 10 hits, 867. Tiamat is still upright. We got some beefy. Oh, there's a damage poison, nothing too bad. One damage out of the Sun Sword. Lit 3, 45. This should... 7 hits, 374. Not quite enough. Almost max roll nuke. 394. And Shadow is on to Chaos.
Now, this question is actually, at this point, Spellzapp has 5 more levels pretty much over ShadowWalker. How fast can he get through Skyfloor? Because he's only one boss behind. This is going to be really close at this point.
It's going to be close, and again, we haven't seen anything nasty. If Chaos rolls a nuke or nuclear, they don't care about ribbons. If he has Cure 4 and he's tanky, that could drag things out. We still have Slow 2, Will Cleosis pointed out. That can ruin your day. Alright, ShadowWalker, defense, fasts, tempers. 2 hits, 63. There's our non-elemental tornado. Not enough to take anyone down. Starting to whittle those black mages down. One more defense. Keep stacking those tempers. 2 hits, 81 on his Mazza wielder. 335. That's dangerous. He's getting into where that fighter can be nuked or nuclear down. And he recognizes it. Cure 4 on that Knight. Keep stacking those tempers. One more defense. Shadow is going to be swinging for the fences when he comes out of this. Cure 4 on his Knight. Keep that Mazza wielder upright. Here we go. Fight temper. Added tempers. Throws a nuke. Ink out of Chaos. Free round. Ineffective. Nuke out of Ted. 151. We want to see that Mazza swing. Got the temper off. Dave, Chaos, 2 hits, 623. Pretty evasive. Nuke for 306. 3 hits, 33. A nuke out of Chaos. Down to 1 fighter. 2,000 damage. Still upright. Another swing, 1141. ShadowWalker goes ahead, goes up 2-0 on Spellzapp. Spellzapp still working on Tiamat. GG's to ShadowWalker. We have 1/2 of the finals for our 2019 spring tournament.
As we're joined by ShadowWalker in the commentary booth, Spellzapp is only 1 floor. He has to finish off the air floor. He just killed Tiamat. Going into the final floor, that is Chaos, but gets stopped by a 7 sorcerer pack on his way through. and is going to pull Chaos very, very shortly. Decides a white shirt defense sword. He's got his everything set up. He's just going to use his consistent strategy of getting his evasion charges with his white wizard and his white 217 damage done to his Masamune wielding fighter. That is something to be concerned about. Again, we know Chaos has nuke at this point. ShadowWalker saw it. Temper charges fade. And he's going to go with a Cure 4 from his white wizard. He's got 5 stacks of evasion on his second fighter. Cure 3, making sure he stays up. Tornado comes through, does some chip damage to most of his party, hits the white wizard very strongly, unfortunately. More temper stacks, going to go with a heal 3 strategy again, trying to keep everyone topped off. 5 hits for 559, 3 hits for 119. We have 700 damage done to Chaos at this point. More temper charges coming in from the black wizard. He's going to swing in with both fighters and buff up with his black wizard. Going to keep his fighter alive, swings in, does some great damage from that Masamune. Cure 3 makes his fighter more available for this potential nuke coming up. More fights coming in. Another fast coming in on that top fighter. No, nukes in. 400 damage, a max roll nuke. 6 hits, 577. Chaos has got to be getting low at this point. Cure 4 comes in on his fighter, and he swings in with the Sun Sword. We have some more damage being done. Again, Chaos has about 1,000 damage left done to him. 27, another swing in, 558. Lightning 3 does not do enough damage to kill off Chaos this round. It's going to take one more swing from that Masamune. Going to try and get it done with his Cure 3s, his Brack, that is ineffective. Swings in with the Masamune. 357, Terminator. Spellzapp finishes off Chaos. 121.45. GG to Spellzapp.
Yeah, GG. We do have Shadow here. Shadow, just kind of first impressions on that seed. How do you feel?
It was great. It was really, really nice to actually have warp this time and actually have it at low level. It made travel around the world much, much friendlier and put it to some real good use.
Yeah, that low level black magic, especially with 2 black mages, really suited you. You had all the sweepers in the world. You had fast temper, nuke, warp. Did you consider taking a white mage at all after your run last night with how bad Topher was?
Nope, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. All right.
The plan was double black magic. That is my comfort zone, and that's what I excel at. My playstyle is very much high risk, high reward, and I will nuke my way through everything in my path. And this seed was pretty much the perfect example of that. I felt like everything came up my way, and I felt like I had very few mistakes. And if I did have a couple, they weren't costly ones.
Yeah, no, I don't feel at all. We were a little worried that, because you definitely skipped some chests here and there, we were worried you were going to leave Northwest Castle and that rod out for a bit. So you ended up getting there when you went to the Crown, but were you worried at all with the Fiendry fights? You didn't see anything. You fought for Warmech, so you're the People's Champion there. So nothing nasty out of anyone at all up until Chaos. Did that have you worried at all going into Chaos?
I think I saw like Tornado on Tiamat, which is about the nastiest thing I saw, but I wasn't really concerned. Having 2 knights is very safe, and the fact that I got 2 Chaos with all 4 party members alive, I really only needed 1 turn for like a fast and a temper to get off before Maz is going to really kick in and do a whole bunch of damage. And I felt like with having 2 knights and them both having 4 charges of Cure 4, because I hadn't used any all on my dive through Topher, 8 Cure 4s is a whole lot of safety for Chaos.
Oh, yeah, I commented that Cure 4 or Life 2 on a night makes you a little braver than sometimes you have any right to be. And we are joined also in the booth by Spellzapp.
Hey, Demon Frog.
Sorry, I didn't realize that you had a different handle, Mus. Sorry about that.
Yep, no problem.
So, kind of talk me through your thoughts on this seed.
I don't know. It just felt like I was kind of running through molasses the whole time. Little, like, just small things here and there. Overall, I think I did well. Having 4 party members up the whole time kind of sapped my experience a little bit. I had a tough time trying to get rid of one of my fighters. So that's why I took the ground. I'm sure everyone was yelling at me like, "Stop! What are you doing? Don't do it!" What you guys have to understand is I took a hard look at the last match last night, and I realized that kind of I was playing Shadow's game as the go, kill everything, go fast sort of thing. I kind of wanted to play my own game and hope on Topher to kind of knock him back a little bit and then get through with the higher levels.
Yeah, there was definitely some people saying, "Oh, that's interesting." When you went to the Earth floor and tried to grind, green Medusas. I'm assuming. I don't know that you ever actually found any. A lot of Earths, a lot of Mud Galls, a lot of Rock Galls, and we did see you try to put the one fighter down. But I mean, you say you felt like you were running in molasses. I believe Crabcake said above. Up until today, and ShadowWalker just took the best time so far of 120 in these flags. You're at 121. You're not going through molasses. You're just playing against Spellwalker.
I'm pretty sure that's number 2 in the entire tournament at this point, with the 121.45. I don't think anybody has actually breached the 122 point before tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think it just felt like I got the key items early, and I felt like Shadow was going to do the same, and he would have got there before I did. So that's what I was just hoping on, banking on a Topher that was a little bit nastier. And it kind of goes back to the beginning of before the seed even started. I had Zar try and roll the seed and get a nasty one, and then, plan it all out for my game plan the whole way through.
Yeah, the whole way, you were either doing the same thing or just doing it or just flip-flopping. So you would, deviate for a minute and then come back and you do the same thing, and then, one would be in Waterfall, the other one would be in Ordeals, and then you'd flip-flop. How do you both feel? I guess we'll start with ShadowWalker since he was victorious. How do you feel about playing kind of a jet seed as opposed to a bit of a seed where you have to kind of dig and fight?
So, I feel like jet seeds are more akin to my playstyle. If it's very linear and I run into things along my way, it makes the routing very simple and allows me to really push the pedal to the metal. I hate digging through a bunch of chests. So I felt very fortunate both last night and tonight when we saw 2 loose items rather early on. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to worry too much about digging. I'm going to mostly go mode dungeons. And if I eventually have to come back and dig, then I'll come back and dig. And fortunately, after I turned in the item from Ice Cave, I was like, well, Volcano's next on the checklist. There's a whole bunch of chests. And I checked Volcano Armor, and sure enough, there's the bottle. When it's real linear like that, it's kind of a mixed bag, because I feel like I really accelerate at going fast and pushing the pedal to the metal. But if it's super linear, it also kind of tells my opponent where to go too. So it's some good, some bad.
Alright, you Spellzapp, it sounded like with taking the White Mage and kind of your mentality is you were hoping for a knockout, drag out, have the, floaters buried way deep, and you were kind of hoping for not the fastest thing in the world.
That's right, yeah. I was, I didn't want to play, I don't think I wanted to play two jet seeds or 2 kind of linear seeds in this one. I was kind of more hoping for something a little bit more, going dig things, go and fight early, maybe not get nukes so early, sort of.
I mean, that definitely showed with your difference in party comp, and it really only took one Hyrule nuclear nuke to just completely ruin ShadowWalker's day at that point. I mean, that is the point to make here. We didn't really see anything until Chaos. And with your white magic at this point, if there was one thing that could have flipped the turn there, was just finding a nuclear nuke early. If it rolled high, it could have cleared off a black magic at that point. But, I mean, other than that, I'm like, this is a jet seed if I've ever seen it. Finding the floater at 7 minutes in from both of you, 15 seconds apart from each other. And finding 2 of the 3 loose items right off the bat, and the third was in Volcanoes. So, what do you really say to that other than, you know, Masamune carried the day with your tailless run potential?
Alright, well, Spellzapp, I mean, you made it to the Final Four. You came within 40 seconds yesterday. You came within 3 minutes today. That is still something to be really proud of. You've done fantastic in this tournament so far. You know, you've if we look at who's left, I mean, you think, all right, Tristal is out of this. One Fine Day, Minochi, Edgeworth, all of these people that are kind of the favorites of the old guard. The new guard is coming in. Spellzapp and ShadowWalker both coming through the Duckling program, showing just how good they can run, posting a number 1 and number 2 time on this flag set. Even though you didn't make it to the finals, you made it to the Final Four. GG to you, Spellzapp.
Hey, thanks, Demon Frog.
Yeah, GG, man. You're a great opponent, and very glad to race you. And either way, this could have went either way, and either way it went, I would have been happy.
Yeah, same right back at you, man. GG. I hope you do well in the finals. I just want to see a good, 3-match finals. That's all I care for here. Going.
All right, and then you, ShadowWalker, you punched your ticket to the finals. You get to kind of sit back and watch now. Do you have a preference? Are you pulling for crab cakes or are you pulling for Tyrannex?
That's a tough question. On the one hand, I'm really pulling for Tyrannex because crab cakes is terrifying and I don't want to have to face her. On the other hand, I kind of want my rematch versus crab cakes. She was the only one that's taken a match off me so far. Falconic took a game off me, and I want to remove that blemish. So either way, I'm going to be really happy to face either Tyrannex or crab cakes.
All right, well, that best of 3 match starts tomorrow, 8 o'clock. I don't know that I have a channel, but it is going to be on Speed Gaming. Tyrannex versus Crab Cakes. They're lined up for, I believe, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 o'clock across the board. So we will get to see those two and get to see who, between those two, gets to punch their ticket to go ahead, and we know now, take ShadowWalker on in the 2019 Spring Tournament Finals. I have been Demon Frog. We have our trackers Dengwu and Dark Moon X, and my co-commentator Kiyokitsuki. Thank you for joining me tonight.
I mean, it was a great night to watch. You got to see everything in motion. The epitome of how to run a jet seed. We saw records being broken tonight in the tournament. You want to sit back and watch each runner make this play through the tournament and see how do you run the seed when you're getting exactly what you need to complete the seed as quickly as possible and the tools to complete it. This is a seed to watch back and just say, this is how I execute. This is what I need to practice. This is how I need to learn my maps. From anybody learning from a new player perspective, from anybody learning from a veteran player perspective, this is an impressive feat to be shown here. A sub 120 time here by ShadowWalker, a 121.45 by Spellzapp. Those are insane times for 3 loose items in this kind of flag set. I love seeing this kind of stuff. I love seeing just exactly how you can break it down, how you can go as fast as possible, and take advantage of everything that you can do in a particular seed. I'm Kiyu Katsuki. I love seeing this stuff. Please join the Final Fantasy 1 Discord. Please join us. We have duckling incentives for any new player wanting to even learn this game. It's a great place to learn. Demon Frog, why don't you take us out, man?
Sure. Thank you to the crew. Thank you to our runners for being here to entertain us. Thank you, Speed Gaming, for being here and letting us get this out. And I'm sure everybody is going to be looking forward to Crab Cakes versus Tyrannex coming up later in the week here on Speed Gaming. Thank you and good night.